What is up, nerds? Welcome back to episode 64 of the PP Pod. I'm your host here, Lewis with Pickleball Pursuit, here with my co-host, the other PP himself, Mr. Justin from Pickleball, etc. We're here. We're excited. It's about to be Christmas time, so we decided, you know what? We're just going to give you a little present of our presents. So, Justin, how you been, man?
Nice one.
That one took every bit of brain power to make sure that I said it kind of right, and it still
wordplay.
Still felt
wordplay
wrong.
Isn't really your thing.
No, anything word related, no thank you. Not too good.
Yeah, dude. Good. Yeah, we're about to do the holidays, and you guys won't see us on your feed for at least a couple weeks as we're, doing holiday stuff and taking another week off. So soak it in on this probably Christmas Eve podcast.
Justin graced us with his presence with no glasses, so he's got his, he's looking very cute. Some might say sexy, but you look great, dude. What's going on with the no glasses? Weird?
I know everyone who's been seeing me recently is like, "What did you do? What's different?" And I'm like, "I'm not wearing my glasses," and they're like, "Oh." So I'm on a journey. All right, I'm on a little journey.
Here we
go.
Now. Here comes a journey.
It's actually pickleball related, but I am testing contacts, and here's the reason why. This is going to apply to approximately 0.2% of our viewers, but for those 0.2%, it might be valuable, okay? So my vision actually isn't that bad. Like, my prescription's not that big of a deal. I could be fine without my glasses. However, I have oblique astigmatisms, which means astigmatism means your eye isn't perfectly round, and oblique means that the axis that it's an oval in is not straight up and down or straight left and right. It's off. Mm-hmm. So anyway, my astigmatisms are, I wouldn't say severe, but they're like beyond moderate, and they're at strange angles. So much so that getting me a prescription for glasses or contacts, they have to like order special. All that to say is, when your eyes aren't perfectly round anymore, it actually messes with your depth perception a lot and your peripheral vision. Well, guess what is pretty important in pickleball?
That sounds pretty important. I would say that.
Depth
exactly.
perception and, peripheral vision. So, dude, this happened to me a lot, and I never realized that it may be vision related. But on my left side specifically, like if I wasn't able to fully turn my head over here, hopeless. I was like mishitting so much. And this was me like trying to look at the ball. So specifically over here on my left, and then like down and right, those are like my two spots that are tough, which makes sense for the angles. I was at a lesson, actually doing it, like a hands lesson, and I kept like hitting off the edge whenever the ball would go outside of my body. If it's straight in front of me, fine. But over here, I was mishitting like almost every ball. And Coach Ryan, Pickleball, he was like, "Dude, are you even looking at the ball?" And I was like, I'm trying. And then I was like trying even harder to like look at the ball. Of course, in hands battles, you can't always look, but you like try to focus in your peripheral in a way.
Right.
And it was hopeless, bro. And I was like, dang, what is that? And so I started noticing it more and more. And I was like, dude, maybe I need new glasses. So I talked to my eye doctor in depth about this. And she was like, oh, I know what it is. She was like, you don't need new glasses. You need to try contacts, because glasses cannot correct astigmatisms. Mm-hmm. Because like a lens is half an inch off your eye. Well, by the time your vision is there, it's too late to correct the, warp essentially. So she was like, we need to try contacts. But yeah, since my astigmatisms were weird, we had to order 3 different kinds. I had to try one for a week, and then now I'm on my second one, and then I got to try a third kind for a week to see which ones work well for me. The first ones were absolutely miserable. And I had to like try to stick with it for 5 days. I played the worst pickleball I've ever played. It was so bad. It was like worse than not wearing glasses at all. But these actually have been great. So it's kind of crazy actually. I'm like not mishitting nearly as much. So if I become 5-0 this year, we'll know that it was never my fault in the first place. I just had bad vision. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm on my contacts journey.
The good and most important news is you do have a built-in excuse. Yeah,
exactly.
That is imperative for anyone who's watching this. In order to protect your ego, you always need an excuse, okay? It's never your fault. Some circumstances outside of your control are the reason for your demise and downfall. Just remember that. Pro tip. A tip from PP. So, dude, that's good, man. Good for you. I'm glad you're trying
This is the new segment.
That new just the tip
from
baby.
PP.
Hey, we might have to do that.
Oh my
I
God.
hope the contacts work out, man, because that is that would annoy me.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
Yeah,
that would be huge. Well, it didn't annoy me until I realized, because I didn't know any different. And then I was like, am I crazy, or is this fixable? And then I tried the first week of the first contacts, and they were horrible. And I was like, oh, this is so much worse. Like, it's not fixable. And then now this week, I've played now twice in these different contacts, and I'm like, whoa, this is kind of crazy, actually. Like, I'm not just hitting the Edgegaurd for no reason. All this time, I've been like, I haven't talked about this out loud to anybody, but it's like hurting my ego. I'm like, dude, my hand-eye coordination's not this bad. Like, why do I suck this bad? But maybe there was a reason for it after all. Of course, he still mishit on weird balls and stuff. But like, it was obvious stuff where I would be just randomly hitting the edge whenever I felt like I was going to hit center. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep you updated on the contact journey, and if you guys
keep
see
us
me
updated.
with or without glasses.
Yeah, you might be 4-0 now, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I haven't made it there yet, but one day I'll get there. Well, we got not a ton of stuff to talk about, but I think a lot of the stuff we're going to talk a lot about. Shocker.
That's fair.
And we have some stuff we're going to talk about from Wringer Wear. Justin, I don't think you ended up getting anything, but I got some shorts from them. We'll talk about some paddles, and then we'll go with New Week, New Maine, and NERDTOWN. Justin's going to talk about what, Justin? What are we going to talk about? I'll let you
We're
set
going to
it
talk
up.
about how all the reviewers are lying to you guys.
Every one
I'm
of
just
them.
kidding. Every one of them.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, we're going to do a little myth busting today about dwell time.
Ooh.
Little fake news about dwell time. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll kind of dive into the science of what is dwell time. Is it real?
Is it real? Can it be dwell?
We'll have to see.
Well, sweet, man. I look forward to hearing that because, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk real quickly about some shorts that I got from Wringer Wear. Basically, if you're not familiar with Wringer Wear, they are a clothing brand for pickleball-related clothing brand, and they have shorts, shirts, but specifically the shorts are what I've been testing and wearing. They basically have almost like unique sides to them. They're kind of like a towel, if you will, for lack of a better comparison, but they have like a patented design that they can use on their pants to allow you to basically wipe the sweat off your hands, which is, I thought it was a little bit like, oh, I don't think I would use it that much. I didn't think it was like a gimmick or anything. I was like, I don't think that'll be something that would be that, useful for me. But the times that I did wear them, it did work well. They did stay dry, and it did, alleviate some sweat. So if you're like a heavy sweater, especially with your hands, and you are constantly grabbing towels, or you feel like your hands are too sweaty during, points, this is just another way to potentially alleviate that. I do have a code for them. It's code Pursuit, but I think I'll put a link down where you can buy them, but I'm not 100% sure where they are, what the cost is. Took a lot of research doing this, obviously.
Central, right?
Probably. Let me check.
I'm almost positive because we got to try them on and look at them in the Pickleball Central tent at the PPA, so you would expect they'd be on the website.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The actual outside of like the little terry cloth or towel or whatever, the actual quality is pretty nice too. Like the material quality feels good on both their shirts and their shorts.
Yes.
Shout out to Jason. He, let us try on some stuff in Dallas and kind of check it out and told us about it. And it's super nice of him, and the quality was really nice. Lewis picked up a pair of shorts. I didn't take him up on it because I don't have super long femurs like Lewis, and they only had in my size in Dallas the 7-inch inseam version, which that's too baggy for me, bro. I can't be doing it anymore. If a short touches the top of my kneecap or around my knees, I'm like, I might as well wear pants. What's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I agree, honestly.
I think that's going to be great for most people, though, right? Like a lot of people like 7-inch inseam. Like I said, they have lined and unlined, but they just didn't happen to have
6,
the
by
size.
the way. So they're called the Mojave Performance Shorts. They're $85 before code, so they are pretty expensive. But I do think that they do have some unique qualities about them, and just the clothing themselves is pretty nice. So wouldn't talk about it if it wasn't something that I have tested and liked and recommend. So yeah, you can buy it on ringerwear.com, both with a W, WRINGER wear. So yeah, good shorts, and they have like I said, that proprietary. It's called a patented dry hand zones on the hips and the back, so you can wipe off your hands. So yeah, interesting stuff from them. Really appreciate Jason giving us some free merch, because I'd be buying shorts, bro. I'd be buying shorts.
Yeah, same. I have a lot of shorts.
Yep. All right, well, let's jump into some paddles, man. We're going to talk about a couple things from Holbrook, paddle and bag that they sent over. But we'll talk about first the paddle, which is the new Fuze paddles from Holbrook. They are coming in quite a few shapes. So they have a couple of elongated. So they have a 16 millimeter elongated, a 14 millimeter elongated. Then they have a 16 millimeter hybrid, as well as a 16 millimeter standard shape. So I'm just going to put a couple of. I'm just going to show all the shapes rather than all the paddles themselves. But they are really solid shapes. I don't know how you feel about them, Justin, but I think these are thumbs up, PP approved shapes. The standard, they've lengthened the handle to be 5.5 inches, which is really nice. They have this new hybrid shape, which is also extremely nice. This is one of the better hybrid shapes out there. There's one knock on it. Justin, I think you can already know what I'm going to say. It just tapers. That's it. Apart from that,
just barely. It is a slight taper, so it's not a super aggressive taper, but yeah.
Apart from that, I think it's a very good shape. It has a nice long handle, 5.6-ish inches, and it just is a really, really solid shape. And then the elongated, sorry for bumping my mic, is just your traditional elongated 16.5 by 7.5, 5.5 inch handle. And
good handle, good throat though.
Yeah, good throat.
So the actual feels comfortable.
It's a solid series, but what is unique about this is they have their dual density foam core. So just like you saw in the Holbrook Armas, they did that with these in the Fuze, but they use EPP. So they have two densities. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the heavier density is on the bottom, correct?
I don't want to say it wrong. I can't remember.
Yeah, but regardless, they have one of the densities is, weighs more. It's more dense, and I can't remember if it's on the top orientation or the bottom. But yeah, on the paddle itself, it shows you kind of the way that the core is designed. A floating EPB core with the dual density, like we've seen on the Armas. And these play very good. They're coming out in, I believe it's February. And we'll talk about the playability of these, because I think these are actually a really strong performing paddle. Justin, why don't you talk about your thoughts on them? I know you played with them a good bit, and then I'll kind of share mine as well.
Yeah, I played extensively with the hybrid, actually. I played with all of them, and only the elongated comes in 16 and 14, and only the elongateds right now are both UPA and USAP approved.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
So you got two thicknesses for a choice. This is what their pros play with. In general, and this is sort of early thoughts, but in general, I think I preferred the 16 across the board to the 14.
Yeah, I agree.
The 14's got some pop, but like the 16s are where it brings their kind of more unique personality of these paddles. And I was actually pretty high on these paddles from the very first session. You remember me texting you about it. I was like, bro, these are way better than I expected. They're very good.
Yes.
And I think it took you a little bit more to warm up to them.
Yeah, I thought they performed excellent. However, I could not get a handle on them the first 3 or 4 sessions. But since then, I've finally gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I've got this. This is starting to be controllable for me. And the paddle is very good. So I'll let you finish your thoughts before I jump in.
Yeah. I'm going to start with one nitpick, because it's really the only slightly negative thing I have to say. And then we're going to go all positives. You'll see that this one has the grip off. this handle is kind of chunky. Now, it's not crazy,
Yeah.
but it may be worth mentioning for people who are sensitive to it. If you're not sensitive to handle circumference, don't worry about it. But it's just like a 4.25 stock rather than a 4.125, which is more like the industry standard.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a small nitpick, not a big deal. But like for me personally, I'm going to take off the stock grip and then put 2 over grips. That would be my preference because the stock grip plus an over grip was definitely too chunky for me. But it's probably fine for most people. Okay,
It's a little
out of the way.
Thicker side.
Yeah, but the shape of it's good. Like the pallets are nice and it's nice and long, so all that's good. But all that out of the way, like I said, I played quite a bit with this. I have like I think this is 4 grams on either side of the hybrid because it's not a particularly heavy paddle.
No.
Stock. And dude, yeah, it. Here's the things you need to know: like high power, high pop, but also very soft and pockety feeling at the same time. Like this
Wait,
is
you said pockety,
it's like,
but not.
I didn't say dwelly.
Okay, just making sure.
But
just making sure.
But I mean, but yes, with what people would associate with dwelly, it's a little bit, but it's more like pockety, springy pockety.
Yes.
Pockety, dwelly pockety. Let me say
Definitely.
that.
Yeah.
And there is, and maybe I think this is what took you a minute. Because of the way it feels like it pockets and springs, there's a bit of a launch angle adjustment. But once you make that adjustment, dude, the spin is really good too. Like these aren't even particularly gritty. These are USAP legal grit. Good on you, Holbrook. But so they're not crazy, but they still spin really good because you can feel the face deforming.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it's like unlike the other really powerful foam paddles because this is like up there with the most powerful paddles.
I would agree. Yeah.
Unlike the, let's say, like the Loco and the Boomstick and the Cyclone, these are not harsh at all on ball contact. It's like not harsh. It's very smooth. So that's bringing something new to the table, compared to those, which I think people will like. And Holbrook just doesn't really miss on the graphics. I mean, like this just looks good. Looks cool. Looks clean. It's not too boring. It's not too over the top. Some people may not like it, but I think it looks really great. Shapes are good. The standard shape reminds me of the J3 shape, which is a really good standard shape. The elongated is very traditional. Everyone's going to get along with that if they like elongateds, and this new hybrid is also nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did this for multiple reasons, but I did a day with the ball machine. I literally spent an hour and a half with the ball machine and hitting serves and all this with all of the foam paddles that we call the power category right now. And I brought these Holbrooks out in that group, and it surprised me how far up the ladder they were. Like as far as power and pop and stuff, they were really the only paddles above it to me was the Boomstick and the Cyclone.
Yeah.
And then it's like, this is next. These are, to me, more powerful than the Loco. And in a way, more poppy, although I bet you some people will feel that the Locos are more poppy because the Locos are more crisp and stiffer and harsh. But this like
funny.
Springy pop off this Holbrook is pretty damn poppy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's funny because your initial thoughts and my initial thoughts like kind of both morphed into one another. Like we both had different thoughts, and then as we tested them more, we both agreed on all of the thoughts, which was my first initial impression was like, God, these are powerful. You were like, they're not crazy powerful. And then then you test them and you find out like, oh yeah, they are pretty
I just found them easy to control.
Yeah, exactly.
Me.
And then
so,
after a
so
while I was like,
about it.
Oh, okay. I finally figured out how to play with these. It did take a little bit of time, but I'm used to like playing with a bunch of really stiff, responsive,
like the Cyclone recently.
Yes, exactly. And this is a little bit more pockety, a little more bouncy compared to that. So it took me a while to run through it, but I agree. These are extremely powerful and extremely poppy. They're not top tier, but they're getting very close.
Yeah, I don't know. If this is not top tier, I don't know what is.
You're right.
It's just a hair below the maybe top 2 paddles.
Exactly. Yeah, that probably is the better way to put it. But yes, there are more powerful paddles, but very few. And they have really good metrics, like Justin said. The standard is 114 swing weight, 6.9 twist weight stock. The 14 millimeter elongated was 114 swing weight, 5.8 twist weight, which sounds low, but that's quite normal for a 14 millimeter
For a
elongated.
14 elongated, yeah.
Yeah. The hybrid was 112 swing weight, 6.1 twist weight, another seemingly low one, but very easy to get up to a manageable twist weight. And then the 16 millimeter elongated was 119, 6.4 twist weight. So
Pretty
good,
standard, yeah.
Very, traditional swing weight, twist weight numbers, so nothing crazy about those. But yeah, I thought they were really good. The spin was surprisingly good for how, not gritty they are. They're very standard in terms of their grittiness.
Yeah, we're not saying that as a negative. It just feels like this is USAP legal grit.
Yes, I think they are not.
It's not. They're not smooth, or they're not smooth, or not bad in any way. And don't worry about it because, like you just said, the shot shaping, especially on harder shots, is very good.
Very good. Yeah, I agree. So, a very good paddle. I'm going to test them out some more. I'm sure I'll do a full review on these. These are kind of what we wanted with the Arma. The Arma had very good initial playability, and the durability was questionable. But I think this is going to, number one, be a very good price. I believe they're $229. I'll double check on that, but I know they're going to be a good price.
Code,
yeah, and the performance is very good. I mean, it's up there with some of the best paddles. Sweet spot size felt really solid, and just really nothing negative I can say about these paddles.
Yeah, no, high praise. This one, I'm going to put these grips on, and this is going back in my bag. It probably needs a little more weight because the hybrid, like you just said, it's just pretty light stock. So if you're into adding weight and customizing, you're happy with that.
Yeah.
But if you're not used to that, you're going to try to play a paddle stock, I would encourage you maybe to add some weight to the hybrid. I think it definitely helps a lot with the stability.
Yeah, stability is
pretty
like
average. This paddle's good enough.
Great though.
Yeah, going back in the bag. And I may pull that out. So,
but
anyway, great paddles. Good job, Holbrook.
I agree. Yeah, I think these are like paddles that I would not be surprised if just took off and became very, very popular. We'll see if that happens, but playability wise, extremely solid, and they have every shape. It's all good stuff. So, and they look good. I think Holbrook always nails the design on everything. So,
and they have a softer feel, a la like the Duo and the FC Plus.
Yeah.
But unlike those things, the Duo and the FC Plus, these have way more firepower.
Yes.
So it's like this is, one of the first that's really powerful but not harsh feeling. It's some people don't think the boomstick is, but that boomstick is a very unique feeling paddle. So I get it. People have subjective opinions about it.
Yes.
And then before we go to the next thing, we also got a new Holbrook bag. This is a $80 bag, and it's a backpack. And
gosh,
dude, this is
that's a really good
price. It's simple, but it's simple like in all the right ways. It's just like it's simple, but it's done well. This opens up like this, and then it's pretty open in here. There's a couple sleeves, but there's two sleeves, and it's basically just wide open. It is black inside. There's this little pocket on the front. This pocket's actually really nice on the side here because this is both like where your balls live, but also it has some extra organization. But yeah, you can put the balls in here, and it fits 4 of them pretty easily. And then the straps and the padding, quite good. This padding is comfortable, and the straps are robust. They're actually pretty strong for how. And then, like, the main thing you notice with this bag compared to other bags is, like, it's so light. Like, I didn't weigh it, but it's incredibly light. So for just a
very light,
basic, easy to carry, light duty backpack, and you're not changing the stuff out, or you don't need a ton of organization, looks good. It's a good bag for $80.
Yeah, definitely one that will work for people who are not carrying a bunch of crap. If you're just kind of a more casual player, you don't need to bring a ton of stuff to, open play, and you just want to have a pickleball dedicated bag, a very solid option. And for just a good price. I mean, there's very few bags under $100 that are legit. If you want more space, the Neonic one is the one I'm going to always recommend. And then if you spend a little bit more money and you want even more space, the Bodhi backpack. But for a small bag, very good. Like very, very good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say it's better than the Ranger bag. You know,
The materials are not as, it's not as premium, but when you
No, it's not as
consider the
premium, but
price
yeah.
difference,
yes.
I mean, like $80, and that, I don't know if your code works on this, by the way, but that's $79.99 before code, or
Right.
if the code works. So put it that
Yeah.
way. But yeah, I mean, like budget bags are like for the most part kind of crap. Neonic has changed that story with their $100 sidekick. That thing
Yep.
is excellent at $100 and does carry more and has more organization. But if you don't want a kind of heavier, more going on bag, if you just want simplicity, then save yourself $20 and it's pretty nice. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
nice. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna check on real quick, see if it does have a code. But yeah, just a good looking bag for a great price, and I think it's definitely one that would be a super easy recommendation. So yeah, really good.
Makes sense for Holbrook too,
Yeah.
to like fill out their product lineup.
Yeah, I think they
with
do
that.
have a tour bag as well. It's a little bit bigger,
Right.
but yeah, there's not. This is kind of a weird spot in the market that not many people attend to. Yeah, so $70 after code. So pretty
That's good. Yeah, because there are I think there are Yola and Selkirk bags around that price, and then of course some other like kind of less known brands. But I personally have seen other people's like Yola and Selkirk bags around that price because they're very common around rec play.
Yeah.
And it seems like 80% of the time they're broken or have a tear or rip or look just in really bad condition. So I'm not saying they're bad. It's not first person experience, but that's just what I see.
All right, you ready to move on to your babies?
Well, I don't know if we can call them that, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to talk about the new Volair shift paddles. For anybody who does not know, Justin did have a big part in the making of these paddles, so we are going to always do our best to be as unbiased and truthful as possible for you guys, but just wanted to make sure that you guys did know that before we talked about it. So, Justin,
Definitely.
what you got, man? We got the shifts in. I've played with them a ton. I'm gonna let you just run through them because people have been asking a bunch of questions, and then I'll share my thoughts.
Yeah, so thanks for doing the disclaimer. It's a bias warning, okay? Like for those of you who don't know, for my day job, I do consulting for product and brand development in pickleball, which translates to a lot of times designing and testing paddles, and have been working with Volair for a while, and specifically working on this project. This is the Shift, which is for pre-order now and shipping probably late January. We've been working on this project since April of 2025, and you're going to see me hold up various colorways throughout this thing, and then Lewis is showing. But essentially, there are the three shapes: wide body, hybrid, elongated, and then there are two colors per shape. Like so, for instance, this wide body I have is like pink and purple, but he has the blue and gray one. Then there's the hybrid, which is this light blue and neon. He's got the red and gray one. Elongated is yellow, kind of goldish and gray, and then there's a blue and sort of lime green, maybe is what that is.
I would say lime green is probably a good description.
Yeah. So, and while we're talking about the shapes real quick, the wide body shape is like the same shape as Mach 2 Forza. So Volair users will know this. Volair was probably the first company to popularize wide body with a long handle, which has become very modern, and most brands have that now. So this shape is great. It's stuck around. The hybrid shape, they had a hybrid shape before, was like the Mach 1, but this one is updated. So now this new hybrid shape uses the maximum allowable dimensions, so it's a little bit wider for more stability and wider sweet spot, and it has a little bit longer handle and thinner throat here, for the modern game. Nice TUI. Of course, I'm biased. I love the shapes. I think they're, damn near perfect.
No, they're very
and you
good.
see the signature here. The hybrid is Dylan Frazier's signature paddle. So this is his signature shape, the Shift, and he had a hand in developing this too. So literally having a top 10 pro to test with and design alongside and try to make this for his game was super cool.
Yeah.
Very cool experience. And then here's the elongated. Volair never had an elongated before, so this is a first for them. But the elongated is more flat across the top. There's a slight rounding, but it's just for aesthetics. It's basically flat. When you put this up against a flat top, It's like literally less than a millimeter difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then nice long handle, 5.6 inch handle again, and then a nice throat. So this is new for Volair, which I think is going to be really good because, you know, elongated's the best selling shape. Most people play elongated.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all like kind of the boring stuff. Now let's talk about like the design of the paddle. It is a full foam paddle. It is a floating core paddle, if you want to call it that. So all the, you know, really good paddles these days, the Honolulu NF, the Bread and Butter Loco, the Selkirk Boomstick, there are others too. A floating core is when you have like a central hitting core and then a different foam, usually EVA or something more elastic that goes around the outside that floats it. You know, the little analogy everyone likes to use is like, oh, a trampoline, right? The hitting surface is like the tarp of the trampoline, and then what goes around the outside here is like the springs. So that's why I use the more elastic material. And you can see the designs here, the lines on the face. This is essentially mimicking what's actually going on in the core. And that's where it gets fun, because to say, oh, it's an EPP and EVA full foam floating core, you're like, all right, well, we got plenty of those on the market. What's different? Well, here's what's different. You see Lewis holding up these pieces, and I'll kind of show you. This is the inner EPP core, which gets surrounded by EVA, and then down here it goes down in what would be the handle. I'll kind of hold it up. It goes like, imagine you're looking inside the paddle. It's like that in there. And the unique part here is that inside this core, there are hollows. There are hollow channels. And these two pieces basically mate up face to face like this. And whenever they get fused together, you're left with these hollow channels or tunnels in this specific pattern. And these channels they're varying depths as they go inside to outside. And you'll have to kind of excuse the sloppy one. We just got this one for just to kind of show off on the podcast. But the purpose of this is essentially engineered flex, right? And this is why it took since April and all these revisions. This release version here is actually the 49th revision of the Shift. So we went through 48 different versions that either weren't good enough, didn't have great enough durability, didn't pass testing, various reasons, right? And a lot of props goes to Volair for like having the dedication and the vision to sticking with that and saying like, we're going to go until it's like at the point where we think it is what it needs to be to release it.
Yep.
You know, in my experience, I've seen with other brands, they might go, I don't know, 12, 15 iterations and then be like, it's good enough. Let's just go for it. Or maybe they spend the time and money to go 15, 20 iterations in and it's not perfect yet. And they are like frustrated and they're like, we don't want to do this. Let's just release whatever else is popular on the market right now. And they just give up on it, which is valid. Sometimes you have to cut R&D projects. But like I said, Volair kind of had the dedication and vision to see this through. So starting in April, and we finally had a final version in basically late October. And then since then, it had to go to, you know, testing, and it's fully USAP approved, all 3 shapes. And then the hybrid is UPA approved. And that's what Dylan is playing with. Although the UPA versions, only for now.
Gotcha.
The other ones are coming. Basically, the hybrid got expedited so Dylan could play with it. He just played with it last weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
But the other ones will be.
He did
UPA
very good with it as well, right?
Yeah. He had a kind of an upset win. He made it to the semis, and he only had the paddle just got approved like 2 days before that tournament started. So
crazy.
like last minute, he paddle switched and then still made it all the way to the semis and got an upset win. And I think he played really good. So anyway, that's cool. But yeah, just so everyone knows, if you go on the site and pre-order right now, you're getting the USAP approved versions. If you need a UPA version, if you're playing pro, something like that, those are coming later, but they will be available. And honestly, if you're playing pro,
you probably ain't listening
reach out to some
big
brands.
dog.
Yeah, and if you're playing pro, try to get you some free paddles, big dog, because you're a pro player. You know what I mean? So anyway, back to design. This channel system is, like I said, engineered flex, and that is the biggest part of the design intention here, and I think it comes through in the playability. There is a maximum allowable deflection for USAP testing and UPA testing. Basically, they get object and they push it in, and how much the face deflects. It's only allowed to deflect so much, and they have to do it over the face, different areas. And EPP, when you make these solid blocks, like imagine this is just a solid block, like a typical foam paddle, it's pretty like stiff, rigid. It doesn't really flex much. And I think that's where
definitely stiff in the with these units that y'all sent out. Basically every part you can really feel how there's almost
you can
no
can't really
flexion.
sink your finger into it. Yeah, exactly. So you have to engineer that in. And for me personally, I've really liked these full foam paddles, but where I felt they were lacking, and the thing I was trying to address personally with the shift, is that a lot of the foam paddles felt numb to me. I don't want to say dead, because they're not dead, because they're poppy, So it's not a dead paddle. There's a lot of power, but they feel numb to me. Like it almost feels like
very little.
Oh,
feedback.
yes, it's a great sweet spot, but sometimes you can't even tell what part of the paddle you hit. And also I think a lot of them don't pocket the ball well. Like it's just this kind of numb ball just flies off the paddle, and then you're like, two things major with the shift to address that. Number one was the tunnels. So we wanted to add some flex back in so you could feel the ball pocket and get some deflection. We're able to achieve that. The deflection on these is literally at the USAP maximum, to the 1,000th place if you look at the decimal.
Golly.
So it is maxed out. There is not a single legal paddle that has more deflection than these, period. There isn't. And then the second thing here is you'll see that it's not a full floating core. We might call it like a peninsula core. So the hitting surface here doesn't get cut off by EVA at the bottom. It's connected all the way through to the handle. And this is basically, in my mind, I prefer this because you need some vibration. You don't want harsh vibrations, but you need to understand the ball hits here and the vibrations travel through the paddle and down through the handle. And that's how you communicate with your paddle and the ball, and you know what's going on. So when you cut off that connection with EVA, you lose so many of those vibrations because EVA is vibration dampening. You still get some coming through the faces, but you don't get it coming through the core. So that's another reason why this design is a little bit different intentionally, and why it has this peninsula style. Some other paddles have this, and honestly, a lot of the paddles that have it, people tend to say have good feel. So,
yeah.
Dude, I'm rambling a lot, but there's just so much to it. I could honestly probably talk about even more. There's one other thing I guess I'll highlight real quick, and just because this is another thing that is new to Volair, I'm not going to say it's proprietary. But it was a very intentional design as well. You guys have probably seen, if you looked at any dissections, there's like thermoformed edge foam. There's like the yellow foam, and that's just like this really light, not very dense, crunchy polyurethane foam, and it's wrapped in like the sushi roll of carbon fiber. And that goes around like the full, all the way from here, all the way around the full face of the paddle. This is something that's been happening since Gen 2 paddles, basically all thermoform paddles. Well, with these, we actually use something different. You'll notice that starting here at the throat and going around the full head of the paddle, if you look at the dissection, Dustin from Pickleball Medicine just did a great review and dissection on this, so you can go check his out if you want to see the insides of the paddle. But yeah, from starting here around the perimeter of the head, there is a carbon-infused edge foam, and basically it's much stiffer, much denser, and the foam is infused with chopped up carbon fibers. What that translates to is a very like rigid perimeter frame and more perimeter weight, which we all know from adding lead tape and such, that perimeter weight increases stability. So the intent there is twofold. Number one, to increase the stability, which you'll see when you hear about like the twist weight numbers. These are really, really high for 14 millimeters. And the other part of it is when you have a flexi face, which we talked about, this is maximum deflection here, but a stiff frame, it gives you some interesting playability characteristics. Think about a tennis racket. It's a stiff frame with a very flexy face. And that was all very intentional for the type of feel that we wanted this paddle to have. And I feel like it kind of achieved it. So that's all like the engineering stuff. I kind of want to, I'll talk a little bit after Lewis goes about like my ideas of the playability, but at the same time, I want to stay away from the subjective stuff too much. I know you guys have been asking me in the comments, what are my thoughts? How does it compare to this? But honestly, like I have been designing this and working on this for so many months. I am clearly biased, and I could be a little bit lost in the sauce. You know what I mean?
Lost
That's what I've been saying.
in the sauce, baby.
So I think it's probably better for me to stick to the objective stuff that I can tell you about why it's designed the way it's designed, what's actually going on, and leave the subjective, playability opinions to Lewis and the other reviewers who, don't have any skin in the game, so to say. I think after you go, I will tell kind of what I agree with and my thoughts on the playability and why I like it, but just understand, where that's coming from. All right, that's enough for me. What did you think? Because you just got these pretty recently. And have been playing with him a good bit.
Yeah, I mean, I told you on the phone the other day, I was pretty skeptical of these, if I'm being honest, New core design, 14 millimeter, just new shapes and all. With anything new, I'm pretty skeptical of. You and I we know this, but probably the people don't know this. We'll straight up tell each other anything. Like we don't pull very many punches. We're not gonna try to be cautious of each other's feelings. Like Justin's many times like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Many times. So we're very, very blunt, very honest with each other. As you guys have seen with the F&B paddles, I wasn't like crazy high on those, So all that to say, I'm just trying to paint the picture that I want to be as unbiased as possible with this. So I don't want people to think I'm trying to just make Justin feel good about his paddle because, he's my co-host. But all that to be said, I actually really like this paddle. Like this is one of the best first impressions I've had with a paddle in a very long time. For anybody who hasn't seen it, I did create a first impressions video of all of these paddles and talked about them. But yeah, I like these paddles a lot. I think they're definitely power paddles. They hit hard. They have very, very good shot shaping ability. Like maybe the best that I've come across in a while, just off the top of my head. I'd need to compare it to a few other paddles, but I really like how this played. They gave me the literal heaviest units out of anybody who I've seen, which is cool. No big deal. I've become less and less sensitive and less worried about, my stock swing weight. I actually am kind of I'm out on that. But anyway, nonetheless, these are very good paddles. I felt like the sweet spots were not bad. They were a little bit better than average, but as soon as you add weight to them, they become as good as virtually anything out there. Stability was average, but as soon as you add some perimeter weight, it becomes a complete non-issue. I think the standout feature of these paddles is the feel. It's like simultaneously pocketing and stiff and responsive. So it's unique, like truly unique. There's only a couple paddles who have this kind of feel, albeit a different, flavor of that feel. But can't think of anything that gives you pocketing feel that isn't like completely free of feedback. This is one of the few paddles that gives you response while also that pocketing feel, similar to what we've seen in the boomstick. But really, really enjoyed playing with this paddle. Shockingly, my preference was the elongated, which was weird. I'm not sure why that is, but I did really like them. I like the shape. I like the handle length. I felt like they gave me everything that I wanted out of a paddle. The only drawbacks were just its stock playability, but very few people are going to play with this paddle stock. Very few people. But I didn't even think the stock playability was bad. I thought it was just
that's what I was going to say.
Solid. It's whatever. It's not like nothing that jumped out at me. I played a game with them stock, then threw weight on it. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's how I am with every paddle too.
Now we're cooking.
Do you think, even though these are 14, that the stock playability, and we'll say the kind of sweet spot and stability, is equal to what we would normally equate with like a traditional 16 millimeter paddle?
I would say, yeah.
No?
I mean, if I compared this to, let's see, like the VSOL Pro, I would say this stock with the VSOL Pro stock, not a huge difference. Maybe
Sweet spot and stability.
Yeah,
right?
maybe the sweet spot's slightly larger on the VSOL Pro, but stability-wise, almost every paddle is kind of mid in its stock form. There's very few paddles. Very few paddles. You know, the J2 shape is like one of the few paddles off the top of my head in a hybrid shape, or the J6
Let's add. I was going to say.
That's really
Let's add an asterisk there because you and I both have been playing mainly the hybrid elongated. If we're talking about stock stability, like this like Mach 2 Forza shape. Yeah. If you're a wide body player, I think
stock twist weight.
I was going to say the stock twist weight is 7.5. So when you hear us talk about stock stability and sweet spot, we're pretty much referring to the hybrid and elongated.
Yeah.
The wide body is a crazy wide body. So it's like crazy stable, high twist weight, really wide sweet spot.
This is a true wide body. It's shorter than 16 and it's wider than 8. Yeah. So 8 inches. Yeah,
it's a beefy boy.
Yeah. But those are kind of my thoughts on the stability and its sweet spots. I've seen a lot of people say that they're poor, and that was very surprising to me because I never once did I think that the sweet spot was bad. I thought stability it was slightly lacking, but I literally cannot think of a paddle that I've played with stock where I wasn't like, ooh, yeah, this could use some weight. Really can't, you know? So, but yeah, let
me ask you something about the sweet spot. Well, while we're here, what did you think about the sweet spot near the top?
Oh, I thought it was very responsive, especially the elongated. You'll see in a lot of paddles, the drop off at the tip is pretty drastic. Some are like crazy drastic, like the paddle techs are virtually dead at the top. You know, it's almost like you hit the edge on the width, you know. So that was one thing I was pretty impressed with these. Another paddle that has like a very responsive tip, if you will, is the Neonic Flare Prime X. That was one of the paddles that I switched to because I was using the ESQC and was like, God, this is like just the ball is just dying anytime I miss it high. But I thought the paddle performed pretty good in the vertical axis in terms of sweet spot. So
the reason why I asked you, Dustin, Pickleball Medicine, he mentioned this in his review as one of his favorite things, and I was going to say that this was intentional as well. This is something that working with Dylan, who's a pro, you know, and who can like kind of control that type of thing, and some other high-level players who may like to hit flicks and rolls near the top. We knew we can't have it be dead up here. Like, and honestly, this is an issue with a lot of the floating cores. So if you look at the X-rays of this, you'll notice actually that the EVA is thinner across the top than it is down the sides. And that's because when you add that, if you add a thicker round of EVA up there, it's low density, and you hit at the material junction, it could be pretty dead. So we thinned up the EVA near the top. That made it more solid, you know, at the end of the paddle there. And then, of course, like what I talked about with that really stiff edge foam, the stiff frame is also just going to help give you some. That's what the paddle techs lack. They have such a flexible frame that when you hit near the edge, you get nothing back. But a stiff frame is a little bit different. So and about the sweet spot thing, you know, I have heard people talking about this, and then somebody actually sent me a message the other day and said, oh yeah, I don't know if the sweet spot's small, or maybe it is, but they were like, I feel like it dies sometimes on the outside. And they specifically said, you see the graphics on here? They were like, if you hit inside the lines, you feel like you're hitting in the sweet spot, but if you go outside the lines, the ball dies. And I was like, aren't you saying the sweet spot's huge? Or am I crazy? If you said the sweet spot is the size of these lines,
that's massive.
When do you expect to hit out here, outside of the lines, and for it not to die on any paddle?
Yeah. 100%.
So I do think there is some of that as well. Like, it's kind of a cool little thing you could think about too, especially if you're sort of learning, is that like, hey, just keep it in the lines and you're good. And that being said,
that goes for any paddle, guys. Hit the center of the fucking paddle. Jesus.
Yeah. But this one, you can like see your ball marks. All my ball marks outside. Yeah. Which, looking at this paddle, I actually have some up here. It's usually when I'm like trying to reach in and flick. But I think that for me, again, a biased opinion, I think that the width of the sweet spot is pretty average. It's nothing to write home about. It's not bad though. But the like vertical sweet spot, I think, is actually really good. I think that it is better than most paddles are, and that has to do just with this flex design. With these channels, you're getting a lot more flex in the core down here, so you get some more energy return. But yeah, that's my thoughts. And then the stability to me, if you're talking about hybrid and elongated, they feel like the same as a stock stability of a 16 millimeter paddle. The wide body is a different discussion. This thing is super stable, even stock.
Yeah.
It's actually really low swing weight stock, which maybe lacks some plow through, but the actual side to side stability is really good, of course, because it's just it's a wide boy. I'll tell you why I like it and my playability thoughts. And of course, I'm the one mainly testing and designing this. So as the iterations come through and I make changes, of course, I'm making changes that fit my preferences. I understand that. I also try to be circumspect and realize what will sell, what will most people like. And of course, Dylan had a large part in this, testing a lot of different versions and then giving feedback, which was really fun for me. Just working with Dylan, like one time we took him out for like 3 hours with like 30 paddles. I think it was like 26 paddles. They were all like slight variations, and he had no idea what any of them were. Of course, I did. And I'm like handing him, 2-3 paddles at a time. And I'm like, all right, play with these. And then I'll be like, just tell me your general first impressions. And then he would tell me that. I'll take notes. And then I'd be like, okay, specifically focus on how poppy does it feel, or how stable does it feel, or what's the sweet spot feel like, depending on what the difference was. And then I'd have him test 2 side by side, and we like eliminate it all the way down, to let's say the top 3, and then we iterate from there, and then the process starts over. Lucky for me, Dylan actually likes a lot of the same stuff that I like in a paddle, and like I guess lucky for you guys, Dylan's just like a pure pickleball player, so he like highly values paddles that spin well, reset well, and like he wants to hit good roll dinks, and he wants to hit good counters. Those are the things. He's not like some of the other pros that I've played with or worked with. They're like, how hard is it? They want to like rip drives. They want to stand at the baseline and rip drives with it and see how does it feel. And that wasn't Dylan's thing. Dylan was like, look, if it resets well, if it spins well, and if it counters well, he was like, I can figure out all that stuff. I can serve with it. I can drive with it. I can drop with it. I'm like, he's good enough to figure all that out.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So it's like, more
nice.
like the shots that matter, the pressure shots. Like he was highly prioritizing being able to like stand in midcourt and reset people like ripping balls at him. Can he drop them unattackable? And that comes through to me in this design because the pop and power are like, they're pretty high up there. I would say it's like middle of power category, if you want to call it that. It's maybe a little bit, I think Jacob All Drop said this, and I kind of agree. This is what I saw in my testing too. That's a little bit poppier than the Loco, but that the power is roughly similar, shape to shape. And so for being a high pop paddle, I find that it's pretty easy to control, and that kind of goes back to the ball feel thing. Because you get the maximum deflection, because you get the pocketing, you have a pretty good feel on like resets and roll dinks and things like that. So even though it's poppy, it's not one of those like black ace poppy paddles where you're like, whoa, like the ball just fires off and you're like, I had no chance. I had no chance to like carve this or whatever you want to think, like control the shot. It's just, it's gone,
I agree. I agree.
And I do think that they are, even though it's a floating core, even though it has core flex built in, I do think they're pretty linear. And that fits my preference.
Oh, they're very, very predictable. Yeah. Very predictable. So, never once was I even remotely like, oh God, that jumped off, faster or slower than I was expecting. Very predictable.
But it still is
paddles.
a poppy paddle. So like the reset, the type of reset is more like put your paddle there, make sure you hit the sweet spot, and let the ball bounce off. Not like you don't need to like add because it's pretty poppy.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So I think that this is kind of a unique feeling paddle, and it may take some adjustment whenever people first play it because it has like that pocketing feel, and I think the launch angle sometimes can catch people off until they adjust. Going back to the Holbrooks, you said that it caught you out when you first went to it. I'm pretty sure the reason why the Holbrooks didn't like catch me out or feel weird is because I had been playing with the shift, which also pockets a bunch. And then I went straight to the Holbrook and I was like, oh, okay. Like it has a similar-ish kind of like grab and fly type thing. But A lot of this stuff is hard to put into words because it's all subjective feel. Okay, well, that's it. SpongeBob stuff's coming too, and some other cool stuff.
I need that.
These are for order right now. They are. It's only $190 before code, which considering the competition.
After Pursuit, baby. That's
it's pretty good.
Freaking good. That's same price as the NF. A little bit cheaper than the Loco. I think it's like $9 cheaper. Very, very good price.
And I think it's the first 50 people who order the red and gray Dylan Frazier signature. If you're into this, you get like a collectible card. This is a signed Dylan Frazier card, and it says like how many are on the back. So if you guys are into collectibles, make sure to get the red and gray colorway because the first, I think it's 50 people get a limited Dylan Frazier card. Okay, is that enough shilling?
Anything else? Because people have been asking. So.
Okay. I'll say one other thing just because I saw this in the comments a lot. People said, how does it compare to the J2 FC Plus? This is, now we're just talking subjective, because, that was my longtime main. So I actually have them both right here. Shape-wise, more similar than different, I'll say that. The shift is a hair longer, a hair more square at the top. Whereas the J2 is long handle is just a hair wider because it's kind of a shorter, wider hybrid shape. The handle lengths are basically the same. I would say the J2 comes out a little bit more aggressively.
This is the J2 like more long handle for anybody who's not watching.
Yeah. So the J2 has this. It's nice. It's a great handle, by the way. But it comes out a little bit more aggressively to kind of these really low bottom corners, whereas the Shift Hybrid, same overall length, still a nice throat, but it's not as horizontally aggressive, so the corners are just barely higher. But again, shape is way more similar than different. Okay, playability, these are pretty different. Okay, the similarity here is that they both feel pretty pockety, like they pocket the ball pretty good. That's the similarity. The power, it's more on the Shift, but only slightly more. The pop, significantly more on the Shift.
Yeah.
The feedback, like the ball feel, biggest difference between these two. Okay, the J2 FC Plus, love the way it plays, love everything that it offers, but this is one of those paddles that I was saying is very numb to me. It's very dull, very numb, it's very muted. The Shift is not that. I feel like it strikes a good balance between like stiff or what'd you call it, like muted, dampened. It's not overly dampened, but it's not overly vibraty. It's not hollow feeling. It's a more dense feeling paddle, so it doesn't feel hollow like some of the foam paddles do. And yeah, it's hard to describe, but that's going to be the biggest difference. Is this is way poppier, and the feel is very different. For sweet spot size, the J2 FC Plus has a wider sweet spot. It's more forgiving, especially with weight. I tested both these with weight. However, I think the Shift sweet spot is better vertically. It's better towards the tip, and it's better towards the bottom. So it's kind of a little bit of a trade-off. All right.
Yeah, I'd agree on all accounts. If you're looking for max stability, definitely the FC Plus. If you're looking for more feel, more pop, more firepower, Shift is a much better option in my opinion. But shape-wise,
touch more spin.
Both of them
touch more spin on the Shift.
Good. Yeah,
but they both spin like really, really good. So
yeah, very good shapes in my opinion. Two of some of the best hybrid shapes on the market by a clear margin. So yeah, we'll move on. Hope everybody enjoyed that. I know we went really long on that, but people have been asking Justin to share this for like 4 weeks. So
it's all right. They can skip the chapters if they don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. All right. We're going to real quickly touch on a couple new releases that, Justin, have you played with the DUO Widebody yet?
No, I just got it. I got it right here though.
Yeah. Neither of us have played with these. This is the DUO Widebody, and it, as we said, is a wide body paddle. Has in my opinion, it's a slightly shorter handle than what I would like. It's if I compare it to the...
Let's call it like 5.4. It feels like the handle maybe on like the Loco wide body. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a very good comparison. It's significantly shorter than the Holbrook, which I would say is probably like 5.6. So yeah, 5.4,
5.6, 5.7 maybe. Yeah.
5.4 is probably a good good call. Just a little
Feels
shorter
just-
than what you would want.
Yeah. A little shorter than the Volair wide body shape, so maybe on par with like the bread and butter wide body shape.
Yes.
The handle length. So it's not unusable. It's not like crazy stubby, and probably fine for mostly everyone.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll play very similar to the elongated, but I will hold that thought until I play with it. So
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one, I
do
think.
you know when that's going live?
January 1st, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right. So very soon. Yeah. It will be the same price as well. And also the Luzz Inferno. People are obsessed with this paddle, bro. This could have been the
Cult following one.
yeah, the cult following. There are people who are like, there's nothing better than this paddle. Regardless,
I feel
perfectly
very
fine
good
paddle.
about our choice.
Yeah, I agree. This Luzz Inferno is a good paddle. I have nothing negative to say about it. It's just kind of very similar to 30 other paddles. But it comes in the new, I think it's electroplated is what they're... Electroplated, is that what the...
Yeah, that's what makes like the gloss
Yeah.
edge guards, the metallic edge guards. It's electroplating.
Other than that, there's no difference. So they just made this change to, in their words, have the paint chipping away problem be, worked out. Haven't played with it yet. Can't confirm that even works, but it looks pretty badass. Very much C45-esque. Like it a lot. So, yeah, if you're a Inferno lover and you want to upgrade for another one, they have a new colorway with a slightly cooler looking edge guard. So, all right, that's all the paddles, guys. We finally got through it. We're going to run through everyone's favorite segment, New Week, New Main, sponsored by Bodie Pickleball. If you're looking for overgrips, tungsten tape, bags, sleeves, and other pickleball accessories, you can use code PURSUIT to save you 15% when purchasing on BodiePickleball.com. Thank you, Bodie, for sponsoring New Week, New Main. We're going to change it up. We're going to start including, with our paddle, New Week, New Main, we're also going to include our shoes as well as our bags. So just something for you guys to keep track of if you're interested. So, Justin?
Yeah.
It's a new week, baby, and the shift is approved. So, what's your main, bro?
Yes.
I think we already know.
All right. Yeah. So I have been maining the shift hybrid, which has been the case for now a while.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't talk about it, and I just had an all black version.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the colorway I have right now. This kind of sky blue and neon. Although I'll be honest, this elongated is tempting me. I played half the session this morning with the elongated, and I think I'm still a hybrid guy, but I actually really like the elongated.
Yeah, aren't they weirdly good?
Yeah, and like
It's annoying.
flicks and rolls, I've said this so many times, it's just like a large part of my game. And honestly, kind of even more so recently because I've improved that. I've been setting up the patterns, all that. And elongated paddles, they just flick and roll so nicely. So I think I'm going to play with some weight setups on the elongated, and that might end up being the one, which is shocking.
That is crazy.
I wanted the wide body to be the main because this colorway, this pink-purple colorway,
Oh, that's
Volair was nice enough to let me pick one. So I got to pick one of the colorways for the shift. I picked this colorway, and then I've been giving Ryan a hard time because he chose to put it on the wide body, and I was like, "Bro, put it on the hybrid."
Come on,
But
man.
anyway, so I wanted to play this, and in fact, when I came to that tournament in Baton Rouge, remember we played that Moneyball? I actually played the wide body shift.
Yeah.
I was trying so hard, but wide bodies are not for me. It's just a balance
neither.
point thing. The balance point is just too low. I was putting so much weight at the top trying to raise the balance. It's just not my thing.
It's a quarter-inch problem. Had it my whole life.
Yeah. It's not for me. But yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So that's where I'm at.
All right.
I actually don't know your answer. Everybody knew mine, but what's yours?
All right.
New week, new main, baby.
With the risk of sounding like an absolute shill. New week, new main. Volair shift elongated.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I drilled with this today, and Jesus Christ, bro. Had like a phenomenal, great first half of the drill session. Actually, let me say it. The first 2/3 of the session was great. And then I played 7-11 at the end, and good God, I sucked so bad. But it wasn't the paddle. I just
Couldn't handle the
played
pressure.
like shit. But anyway, nonetheless, really love this paddle. I think I've talked about it enough. It's it's very good. And even if my pickleball wife didn't make it, I still would really love this paddle. This is a legitimate paddle, and I'm excited to play with it quite a bit more. So, well done,
I'm
Volair.
shocked, actually.
Very, very good. Yeah, I am shocked too. I'm not gonna lie. I was very skeptical of this paddle. I'll be totally honest. But it has impressed me tremendously. So, all right. Shoes. What you got for your main shoes right now?
Oh yeah, I forgot
didn't
about
even
that.
get
I didn't
mine,
know if I was
but
supposed
it's
to do
okay.
those things. I've been wearing these Yonex Ad XLs still. I talked about these the last podcast because I wore through my first pair. So this is pair number 2. I love these shoes. This I got pair number 3 waiting in the wings because they were $77 on Black Friday. So the durability is not awesome. Everything else is amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And yeah, of course, you guys know I got the Blue Maka insoles in there. Elite combo, honestly. This shoe with that insole it's like insanely cushioned, really good energy return, really comfortable, also really fast, really like snappy feeling. So yeah, it's just it's really hard to beat, honestly. And I've been trying to I've been testing some other shoes, or I'll wear another shoe for a session. I'm like, I need to get back to the mains.
Yeah.
And then you want to do shoes now, or you want me to do the bag also?
Yeah, hit your bag too. Let's go bing bang boom.
All right. This has been a long time, Maine. This is the ADV Backpack V2. I went to the Flex for a bit, but with how much I'm testing paddles, and now with it being colder and carrying like hoodie and sweatpants and stuff, I'm back on the backpack. There's a chance that when it warms up and I'm not carrying extra clothes, that I'll go back to the ADV Flex.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used a Bodhi backpack for a bit. That thing is really good too, and actually holds a lot. Honestly, holds the same amount as this ADV backpack, just in a different format. But yeah, that's the oldie but a goodie for me. I've had that for over a year now, and it's been like my main bag.
Let's go, baby. All right. Well, my shoes and bag I didn't grab because I'm a bad podcaster. My main shoes right now are the Diadora Blue Shield Tornado 3s. I use those virtually for every bit of playing, but I have my Yonex Ad XL. I actually played in those today just because I wanted to go back to them and remind myself how they felt. But yeah, Diadora Blue Shield Tornado 3s, 6-month outsole warranty, very comfortable with the Blue Makas. They are about as cushioned in a good way as you can possibly get with a shoe. Tons of, cushion. Wow, killed that.
Protection.
And then
Protection for your joints. There you go.
Yeah, so if you're someone who wants, max protection, I think that's a killer combo as well. So for the backpack, I've been using the Bodhi Pro Court Performance Backpack for about a month now. It is the main. It is just so easy. I can put so much stuff in there. I can fit my tripod in there in the main compartment and just go. So it's got a lot of good things going about it. Tons of storage. It has that extra accessory pack that you can hook on to the front. That's where I put all my camera stuff, which makes it so easy for me, honestly. Not having to dig into my bag to get the camera out to record. But yeah, just a really stellar backpack. So, man, we got some good backpacks available right now.
There's a lot
legitimately
of
spoiled. So, people, if you're looking for a new bag, now's a phenomenal time to buy one. So, all right, that's it for New Week, New Main, baby. Let us know what your main is. Let us know what your main shoe is. Let us know what your main bag is right now. We're curious to see what the viewers are watching. So, let's jump in to what everybody's really waiting for, which is Mythbusters NERDTOWN Edition. We're going to jump into dwell time. Take us there, nerd. Let's go.
All aboard! I was told I need to do that again.
Back. We're back, baby.
All aboard the train to NERDTOWN.
Let's go to NERDTOWN!
Choo choo! Oh, look, you're the one wearing glasses and not me this week. All right. So we're going to talk about dwell time, which is a term I'm sure you guys have heard or, even kind of felt, and reviewers talk about it. What is it? What's the science behind it? And
who is dwell
specifically
time?
Specifically with paddles like the Boomstick or honestly the Volair Shift, you're going to see a lot of different opinions. People are going to say, people have said about the Boomstick, oh, it has a lot of dwell time. Other people are like, are you insane? It does not have any dwell time, you know. And then with the shift, people are going to say it feels dwelly, and then other people are going to say, are you crazy? You know, it doesn't feel dwelly at all to me. And hopefully we can kind of get into what we're actually feeling and why and solve this. But top of the board here, here's the reality. Dwell time is fake news. All right, y'all. It is a myth. There is no dwell time perceptibly, period. There's not. Okay. We have the math. We have high-speed slow-mo footage of ball collisions from cannons, and the time that a ball actually dwells on the paddle face. So from the time it touches the paddle to the time it's gone, you're looking at 0.6 to 1.2 milliseconds, by the way.
That's a long time.
And that's the range. A millisecond is 1,000th of a second, by the way.
Yeah. Good God.
Let's just, for the sake of easy math here, I said 0.6 to 1.2. So let's just call it 1 millisecond. That's the average amount of time the ball stays on the paddle. To put this in context for you, 1 millisecond. When you blink, 300 milliseconds. Okay? So people say, oh, it's the blink of an eye. It is 300 times faster than the blink of an eye.
That is
ball
crazy.
Is on and off the paddle. So, no, you ain't feeling the difference, all right? Literally, your nervous system is incapable of feeling the difference between 0.6 and 1.2 milliseconds, period. You cannot feel that. You're not feeling how long the ball dwells on the paddle.
Bro.
And you probably caught us saying pocketing.
Tennis is
you
only
thought I was
5.
lying, huh?
No, I was just looking it up. Tennis is only 5 to 7 milliseconds.
Yeah.
So there's barely any dwell time on a tennis racket.
What I'm about to tell you and like what we're actually perceiving applies to tennis in roughly the same way. Because what I just said is the reality is there is no dwell time. Now, reality is not as important as your perception of reality.
Yeah.
And this goes for pickleball. This goes for everything. Your perception is your reality. Only you live in your brain. Everyone has their own little individual realities, and it's all what you're perceiving, right? So even though the reality is the ball doesn't dwell on the face, we do feel differences, and that's what we call dwell time, dwelly, all that. So now let's kind of go into what that is. And no, I'm not saying no one needs to say dwell time. Reviewers need to stop saying that. This is just in
dwell time.
This is just in the cause of curiosity and understanding, like, what are we feeling? We can still call it dwell time because that's what we're perceiving it as, but what actually is it? And there are let's see, a couple different things here. Oh, and I thought this was interesting. So face compliance, pretty much, you know, the deflection of a paddle and how quickly it complies and then goes back to normal between like the very stiffest paddles and the very softest, dwelliest, pillowy paddles. It only accounts for maybe a 10 to 20% difference in the actual quote unquote dwell time. So that is the 0.6 to 1.2 milliseconds. So in reality, an extremely stiff paddle, extremely soft paddle, the ball isn't perceptibly staying on the paddle any longer. But other things are happening. So what are we feeling? Number one major thing, and this is very obvious, but it is the vibrations and the vibration patterns and the resonant frequencies. And so how does that change? This is going to be, this is very layman's explanation. So just understand it's not perfect, but this is the best analogy I can come up with to kind of explain it. Imagine this paddle right now, just static, is like perfectly flat, right? And then a ball comes in, hits, the face deforms, the ball's gone. And then well after the ball's gone, now the face is coming back to flat. But as it comes back, it goes wiggle, 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 you know, and those are essentially vibrations in the face and the core.
That was really good.
Wiggle, wiggle?
Yeah, that was good. That was impressive.
So that frequency and those resonances are what we actually feel and interpret as dwell time. A paddle that returns to flat faster, more violently, and has smaller, you know, little oscillations. Yeah, wiggles. There you go. I try to get smarter with it and say oscillations. We interpret that as stiffer, less dwell time. A paddle that comes back and is slower to do that, slower to get back to its original flat state and has a looser oscillation, those are lower frequency vibrations traveling into our hand. We interpret that as a longer interaction time, a longer dwell time. That's not actually the case, but it is longer for the paddle to return to normal. And if you guys have seen Chris Holston from the Pickleball Studio, his super slow-mo videos of like the gearbox hitting a pickleball, that is the perfect example, because those paddles honestly feel like the dwelliest paddles ever.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, you can see the ball hits here, the entire face of the paddle, even on the backside, moves, and the ball is well gone, and then the face is going roll like this for a long time before it settles. So that's one extreme. The other extreme, of course, would be like a wooden paddle, or like something that has zero give. You feel zero dwell time, but also it's a freaking piece of plywood. It's not deforming and coming back. It's just very slightly flexing. That's it. Yeah, and then it's back. So that's the major thing. And because it's all like sound, you know, how often this thing happens and how big it happens is a lower frequency that you feel. You know, how tight it is a higher frequency, and that's what you feel. And that's what we perceive as stiff or soft or dwelly or not. So, you know, specifically on the shift, we talked about this. This is maximum deflection. So you will feel a large wave, but it does, since it's a 14 millimeter paddle and there is 4 layers of carbon in the face, it does return back to flat pretty quickly. So you feel, number one, a lot of pocketing because it does go in. So it's a big wave, but the wave settles pretty quick. So you feel like, oh, this is responsive, but also dwelly, but it's not dwelly because it doesn't feel like the ball stayed there for a long time, but I definitely could feel it grabbing. Anyway, so what I just said is the second part. And this is also essentially vibrations, but this is a bigger part, and this is the biggest part of tennis, by the way, what I'm about to talk about, because this happens a lot more in tennis. But there is torque transfer or different torque behaviors that happen when you contact a pickleball. And a vast, vast majority of the shots that we hit have angular momentum. Like, we are not hitting the ball, just ball flying flat, hit flat. No, it's very like balls coming down, we're coming across. So there is an exchange of angular momentum going on. And the more that the face deforms and the ball deforms as well, the contact patch gets larger. You can imagine if the ball squishes in, if the face squishes in. So as the contact patch gets longer for more deformation, you essentially have more friction there. And the more friction you have when they're traveling at an angle, the more exchange of angular momentum there is, the more torque exchange, if you want to call it, the more torque behavior there is in the swing. And you can feel this. Now imagine you're hitting a big loopy serve or a loopy drive or whatever on kind of a slower ball. And you can honestly feel like, oh, I'm swinging this fast, the paddle head is going this fast, and then the moment it hits the ball, there's a little bit of exchange of energy and there's a little catch here, and it kind of slows down your swing, the ball's gone, and then you swing through just fine. But you feel that little catch. That's what we call like grabbing the ball. That's what we call like dwelly paddles. Like, oh, I feel like I can really grab the ball on roll dinks or whatever. That's what you're feeling, is that exchange of energy for that little tiny bit of the swing there, along with what we talked about previously with the vibrations. But that is a massive part of what I just explained is probably more of the pocketing part, and what I explained previously about the vibrations and how long it takes the paddle to return to normal is more like the dwell part. But those all go hand in hand. And again, for the shift, that's probably why people say it has great pocketing, because you definitely feel that exchange of angular momentum. You feel like you can grab the ball and shape it really well, but not everyone's going to say it has good dwell, because I don't think the paddle like vibrates loosely and longly.
Yeah.
Longly, that's
baby.
Not a word.
It can be.
Well, you can't make it through NERDTOWN without, one made up word, at least one, if not more than that. But let me say this again, because I think this is really important, that reality is not as important as your perception of reality, period. So even though I'm saying the science, the reality is dwell time is fake news, dwell time doesn't exist, it's all a myth, we can perceive these other things. And honestly, it's way easier in our language to talk about a paddle and say, oh, it pockets, it dwells, because that's how it feels.
Yes.
Even though none of that is happening, it's way easier than to be like, you know what, the resonant frequency vibrations, they take longer to dissipate. So it feels like, the paddle's on there longer, and the torque transfer whenever you swing with a lot of angular momentum, it really grabs the ball. We don't want to say that, okay? That's not where we want to go. It's kind of in the spirit of NERDTOWN, but it's also not. Yeah, so, and you just talked about this. I don't even know if you mentioned this, but everything I just said, Lewis and I have talked about behind the scenes. And look, y'all can blame me the most, but when it comes to reviewers, and I'm not a reviewer, but when it comes to reviewers, a lot of times there is a lot of useless over-nerdifying. And we need to, I said to you, make subjective great again. When it comes to reviews,
I forgot about
there
that.
probably needs to be a little bit more emphasis on the subjective. I think a great review, of course, gives you the objective information, but also tries to do a good job relating the subjective experience of playing with a paddle and what does it feel like, even if the science isn't lining up with that, because that's ultimately what most people are going to experience when they play with the paddle.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not
yeah,
trying to
there you
throw anyone under the bus, but it is very evident that a lot of reviewers get a bit pedantic. You know, they get a little over enthusiastic with the knowledge and details, and for a few people, that's very important. People this is their job. Like, as a reviewer, yeah, sure, like you should know all these nitty gritty details, but there are some things that, as you can tell by my style, and this is not me trying to be like, oh, I'm better than anybody else. Not saying that at all. That's why I just don't focus on like ultra specific, ultra nerdy things that really have very small, minute, I guess, ways to help someone understand how a paddle plays. Not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying there are a few things that get way too overblown.
When you do it at the cost of subjective playability, then it's bad. And it's just a bad review. If all you give is the objective information, this is this density, this is this is this, this is made this way, it's this layup, da-da-da. That's not even a good review at that point.
Yeah.
That's just, you're just listing specs, which is cool, but I wouldn't call that a review. I'll give another shout out to Dustin. I said this before, Pickleball Medicine Dustin. You guys should go check him out if you don't know him, but I've always said he's my favorite reviewer. And then he just did this review today on the shift, and I think he did a really great job of this. The dude actually went crazy into objective detail and dissection and super nerded out. But he talked about the basics of the paddle, and then he said, all right, I'm about to get into all this stuff. And none of this actually matters for how it plays. If you're interested, stick around. If you're not, just skip to the gameplay review section. So he did all the subjective stuff. And then there was a chapter in the YouTube video, which you guys should use him if you don't. And then he skipped, then the next part was just gameplay video and him talking about his subjective experience of how the paddle plays. And I was like, that's perfect, because you offered kind of the full gamut to anyone who needs it. But if you do objective only and no subjective, it's not even a good review.
I agree.
Or it's just something different. It's something different than a review. It's like a product spotlight or something. I don't know,
Or just an informative video at that point. Informing the, and people love to come to this podcast because you do that. You give the over nitty gritty details on things. People love to listen to John Q because he does the same thing. And there is definitely a place for that. But it's not going to make you play with a pickleball paddle better. You
just can't do it at the cost of subjective experience. Yeah. That's it.
It's great to know these things. It's great to understand the science, the how-tos, the whys behind things. But getting fixated on those, and that's how you judge your paddle decisions, is a messy way to do it, in my personal opinion. Which is why I think everybody, for the most part, does a pretty damn good job of giving all this crazy information, but more importantly, telling their personal experiences with the paddle. So, yeah, that's enough for that. I'm not trying to go any deeper than that. But, yeah, it does get a little goofy to me sometimes when paddle reviews are 32 minutes long.
We said this is going to be a short podcast, speaking of time.
124, baby. We're killing it.
Actually, it's the last one of 2025. We made it through another year. Honestly, is this the first full year that we've been doing the podcast? Because we've been doing it, how long?
I don't know
when we started. A year and 9 months or something like that, I think.
Every moment with you feels so fast.
Like an eternity.
Yeah. No, it feels so fast. It's like we met yesterday on Tinder.
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'm done. I'm over it.
Let's get
that
out of
NERDTOWN was honestly too long for me, too. It was a lot of rambling from me this episode. I'm rambling on the shit on the NERDTOWN
podcast.
I'll see you guys next year, all right?
Yeah. All right. Peace out, guys. We love y'all. Thank you for watching this episode of the PP Podcast. I'm your host, Lewis, with Pickleball Pursuit. Justin from Pickleball Etc. He got the hell out of here. But we'll see you guys in 2026. Have a great holiday break. Peace.